Garrion Glover was a 17-year-old student at East Chicago High School. He was like any other 17-year-old. He was in his senior year of high school, looking forward to graduating, doing the normal things seniors in high school do, hanging out with his friends, socialize, and just enjoy life when you're 17 years old. You really feel like you've got no cares in the world. But unfortunately, for a lot of these kids, at 17 years old, you are at risk. And in February 2014, Garrion Glover unfortunately was shot and killed. It was a tragic, senseless end to the life of another young person in the East Chicago community.
On February 10th, 2014, at approximately 10:40 p.m., the Chicago Patrol officers were dispatched to the 3500 block of Guthrie Street. When the first responding officer arrived, he was approached by several unknown black males stating his friend was shot. The officer observed the black male, who was identified later as Larcel Lockhart, who was shot several times. As the officer was there with the first victim, he was approached by other males stating that his friend was shot in the courtyard. So the backup officer arrived and located another shooting victim, the second one, who was later identified as Garrion Glover. Unfortunately, Garrion Glover died on scene. Larcel Lockhart was shot several times but survived, and Mark Harrison was not hurt in the shooting. During the course of the investigation, we found that the shooting occurred inside 3547 Guthrie Street, inside of a stairwell. After the shooting, all three victims ran out the door. Garrion ended up collapsing in front of the stairs, and Larcel Lockhart was able to run to the front, where he was found by other people who were in the surrounding area. And Mark Harrison was able to run and jump the fence there and escape from the shooting.
Unfortunately, these shootings have become more common, and young people are getting shot with more frequency. And it's just really discouraging, I think, to the community as a whole to see young people like this who are in school, trying to get ahead, and then have their lives cut short like that. And especially for Garrion, he left behind a large family, grandparents, a mom, a dad, a girlfriend, even a son. And it's sad when a 17-year-old dies when their life is just beginning. And it's especially sad when grandparents outlive their grandkids. I mean, that should never happen. And it's just really a sad case of what happened to Garrion when his life was cut short. Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
On the night of February 10th, 2014, Garrion Glover, Larcel Lockhart, and Mark Harrison had a confrontation with three unknown black males inside of 3547 Guthrie Street, where several shots were fired. Unfortunately, Garrion Glover died on scene. Larcel Lockhart was shot several times but survived, and Mark Harrison was not hurt in the shooting. When the first responding officer arrived, he was met by several people and a shooting victim right in front here on the street. He was later notified that there was another shooting victim that was inside the courtyard in front of the door here as we're standing. The victim was identified as Garrion Glover, 17 years of age, was laying out here unresponsive. After further investigation, we found out that the shooting took place inside the vestibule. And there was actually three victims, one who collapsed here, one who came out in front, and one who was able to run away from the location. Suspects were in a yellow minivan, approximately three black males who took off after the shooting. During the course of the investigation, the three victims ran out of this building. One of them, who was shot, ran to the front to the street. One of them collapsed here, and the third victim, who was not shot, ran and jumped over this fence here on my left. During the course of our investigation, we discovered that the shooting occurred here in the stairwell. All three victims ran out this door, and as you can see here, we still have remnants of the shooting of that day. We have a bullet hole here in the mailbox. Also, we have a bullet hole here in the stairwell heater, into the cinder block of the wall, and other locations here where it's painted over.
With this shooting taking place inside this apartment complex and the mailbox is being shot up, it's a reminder to all those residents of the violence in their community. Every day when you come in and out of the building, you're going to get your mail. You see your mailboxes with bullet holes in them. And that's something you see and you have to live with. And it just, the nature of the violence in your community is there, and it's so apparent, and it's got to be so difficult for those residents to have to deal with that on a daily basis. And unfortunately, in a lot of these communities, it's becoming a much more common occurrence that these high school kids are getting shot and killed, and we're losing these kids. And more so, the community is not stepping up to provide the police assistance in solving the crimes. The police weren't there. The police can't be everywhere, but somebody typically saw or heard something. In this crime, it took place at an apartment complex in an interior portion of the building. So this is a public space. Somebody in the building, you would think, would have seen people run out of the building. People would have definitely heard the gunshots. People might have saw the offenders run out, saw a vehicle involved. Maybe they're afraid to come forward with information, but you can call and you leave a tip anonymously. So any kind of information would be helpful.
Garrion Glover was a 17-year-old boy, left behind his mother, a young mother. She's seeking justice. She wants information of the people who were out there that day that could give us leads to these suspects who committed this homicide. Please, help this family out, help the Chicago Police Department bring closure to them. And we know that that night was a very cold night, but there was people in the area. Also, it's in the courtyard sits in between two apartment buildings. We know that somebody had to see something during that day. The shooting did occur inside of a stairwell. I know it's been a year, but there has to be somebody who's lived in those apartments and give us some information on the case.
And we really need to start reducing the crime in these neighborhoods. We really need to help provide assistance to law enforcement so we can solve these crimes. And the more we solve, the more of a deterrent it is for people who are committing these crimes, knowing that they're going to get caught, knowing that someone's going to see them, someone's going to tell the police, and they're not going to get away with it. So we can help having a safer environment for these kids to grow up in.
The description that we have of the suspects is that they pulled in a gold or yellow minivan. 3 male black subjects came out shooting. Also, one of the subjects was identified to have dreads. If anybody has information on this case, feel free to call me, Detective Louis Simide, at 219-391-8426 or our anonymous hotline, 219-391-8500.
We'd like to bring justice to Garrion Glover and his family and solve this crime.